Hi, welcome to the Crafts channel. My name's Corinne Bradd and I'm here today to run through what you get in your Cedric the Cat and Olive the Owl stitch kit box. If you've never met Cedric the Cat, I'd like to introduce him to you now. Here he is, great little cuddly cushion for your toddler or your own bed, and he comes with his little friend here. And then we have Olive the Owl, who will just sit quite neatly. She'll act as a doorstop if you fill her with sand, or just as a nice little squidgy cushion for a child. So in your box, and let's just open the box, there's some stuffing here. Now there should be enough stuffing here to fill your little bird with, but you will need to buy some more to do the larger cushions, or if you're going to fill it with rice or sand or something like this. Not got enough room on my table, but what we have is we have two pre-printed pieces of fabric. This is Olive the Owl, as you can see here. And what I'd suggest you do before you start working on them is you give your fabric a good press with a steam iron to get all the creases out. This is Cedric the Cat with the bird here. There you go. And again, you'll need to crease it. But it's nice, good quality cotton, good quality printing. And I'm just going to show you how we assemble these things. Imagine I've pressed it. Once you've pressed it, what you'll need to do is use a good pair of dressmaking scissors to cut on the dotted line. This will give you your 5mm seam allowance, and you'll actually be sewing on the black line. Now what you can do is when you're pinning your pieces together, if you hold it up to the light, you can check that your black line lines up all the way around. And as you can see here on Olive, hopefully you can't see any black lines on the stitching at all, because they're so accurately drawn out, and if you're accurate with your pinning and your sewing, you can create this with no ugly black lines. Let me just fold this away, because I also want to show you in the kit is our little handy stitch sewing box. So you've got threads in here, you've got a thimble, a needle threader, a selection of buttons and poppers and safety pins, great little pair of fold away scissors, which are great for thread snipping rather than keep picking up your big scissors all the time. You've got a stitch ripper, so when you do muck up sewing together of Olive the Owl, you can simply just unpick the stitches to take her apart. There's a tape measure for when you want to move on to doing more extensive projects like dressmaking. And there's a decent set of gold-eyed needles here in different sizes, and they've all got relatively big eyes, so even if you've got eyesight problems like me, I have to take my contact lenses out to thread a needle these days because my close-up vision is so bad. If you've got a nice long eye, it's much easier to thread. So all of this comes in the kit, and just another couple of little tips when you're sewing your pieces together. Take your bird, for example. Once you've sewn it together, what you'll need to do is if you just trim the corners so that you can get a nice sharp point, and you need to trim the corner of the beak so you get a nice sharp point. And when you're turning out your points, don't be tempted to use something really sharp, because chances are you'll go through the fabric. A knitting needle is fine, like an aluminium knitting needle, because the end of it will very slightly be rounded and it will be enough to get that nice sharp point out. You'll also need to clip curves. Now it's not so much on this bird, but here on Olive, where her ears come in like this, you'll just need to snip into the seam allowance but not up to the stitching, so that when you turn it inside out, the fabric on the inside isn't held taut. It will ease the fabric out. And especially, you know, with her feet, poor old Olive layer on the front, these little bits here, if you don't snip your angles, what you'll find is when you turn it out, it won't turn out accurately. But it's trial and error. If you've never made a toy like this before, this is a perfect way to start, because all the pieces are drawn out for you, the stitching line is shown for you, there's very little you can go wrong with. And even if you forget to clip your seams, when you turn it inside out, you'll realise suddenly that you can't get the feet as nice as this, and you'll realise why it is. So grab yourself a kit. If you check the description below, it will have all the details where you can get hold of Cedric the Cat and Olive the Owl, and we'll see you next time. If you've been inspired to create, please share your makes with us in the comments section below. And if you've enjoyed videos by the Crafts channel, hit the like button. Want to see more of us? Then click subscribe. See you next time.